Hi, I'm Ron Nutter, and welcome to another edition of Tech Bites with Ron Nutter. In this episode, we're going to show you two more ways about the care and feeding of your Raspberry Pi 2. Now, this is more about copying the SD card using your RPi. And as we've said before, you can't be too careful, because if you're going to do any updates or you're putting your software in, having a way of being able to get back to where you were is going to be invaluable. But more about that later. This content is also available as an Amazon Flash briefing or podcast. Please go to techbiteswithronnutter.com for more information. For any items mentioned in this episode, there are affiliate links in the description. If you click on these links, I will get a small commission, but that won't affect the price you're paying for the item. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please click on that subscribe button now and enable notifications. If this video helps you or provides value, please click on that like button, thumbs up. Now, here's what we're going to be going over. There's several different ways, as with anything, and this is all from assuming that you've never done this before and you're fairly new to Linux. If you are, then there's some things that I may be doing differently. But again, I'm trying to keep this as straightforward as I can. Now, this is all about the Raspberry Pi. Now, whether it's the Model B, the 3B, anyway, it's just how to get the copying done. I looked at getting maybe just, it was a real basic copying machine, and just put the SD card that you had in one, put the one you wanted to back up to the other one. The cheapest one I could find was $150, which is why we got started with the touchscreen project, where we took the Raspberry Pi 7-inch display, married it up to the Raspberry Pi 4B. That's a whole other video. You're going to see it in the description, or there'll be a link at the end. Now, this is something that you want to err on the side of caution. And there was another video I was researching yesterday that proved my point exactly, why you wanted to have a way of backing this up. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch over here to the whoops, not that one. There we go. To the screen here. Actually, I'll get the right button eventually here. Now, this is the screen from the Raspberry tablet project that we've already had a video out on last week. Now, I wanted to show you this way so that if you have the GUI available, even if you're running this as a Raspberry Pi desktop on a normal PC, you'll have this available. So what we're going to do here, and I'm going to lift this up here carefully. You see that I've already got the one SD reader in there now. Don't really worry about the position. So this will just tap on, let me get it back over here in the screen. We will tap on the menu. We will go into accessories, SD card copier. Now, when you click on the From device, you're going to notice two things. You're going to notice SC32G. Now, that's the way it mounts the built-in card. I haven't fully tested this out yet, but there may be a way you can back this up from there. Again, I'm going to be doing that in a future video. Now, you'll notice that there's a generic storage device, dev SD8. Now, that's how the Raspberry Pi is going to see the one device that I got plugged in. And this is going to take some experimentation, because depending on where you have it plugged in and how the device is reading to Raspian. Now, this is going to be the other, and actually we'll get it over here to this screen. Now, this is the little reader that comes with the Raspberry Pi, depending on where you get it. There's all sorts of ways that it comes bundled in some of the starter kits. Now, what we'll go through here and do is we're going to shift, okay, come on up here. Oh, that's right, I've got it on the right screen. I was thinking about something else. Now, I'm going to put it down here in this lower slot, and that is, there's no main reason for that one other than it's had no overhead with the other slot, because initially the readers that I was going to use wouldn't fit together because of the size of them and overlapping in the slots. And if that's the case, you can either find another reader, or you might have to get a very short USB extension cable. I'm not comfortable with those, but it's at least an option. So let's go back to our screen here, and we've got that in, and we'll go down here. Now you see it says SDA and SDB. So the first one that I put in is SDA. Now we'll tap down here and we'll go to SDB, because it's not going to, I mean, you could copy back to yourself, but why would you? So we will copy down to SDB. Yeah, I know. And we'll tell it new partition UUID. No, we won't. I'll leave that alone because it's going to work just fine. And then click start and yes to erase. And this is the part where it's going to be a case of hurry up and wait. So it's going to be preparing the partitions. And this is not something that's going to be done in 30 seconds or less. So for those of us who are used to the old days with the floppies and you could copy one in a couple of minutes, this is going to take a little bit longer because you're using the Linux. I think it's basically doing a wrapper on the Linux DD command, which is disk duplication, I think is what it stands for. Don't hold me to that, and don't send me any hate mail if I got it wrong, but that's, there's sometimes, as with anything, a variety of explanations. So it's already copied the first partition. Now it's getting to the second partition, and this is where it may take a little bit of time. So this is one way of doing it. So I'm actually going to reach over here and I'm going to stop the copying process, and it's going to complain. Yes, it did. All right, we'll click cancel, cancel, come on, cancel. It says canceling, but obviously, okay, there we go. And most importantly, we're going to close. Now, that is one way of doing it. Again, not ideal, but for the price that I paid for the touchscreen, the Raspberry Pi 4, 4B, and the case, I mean, I'm less than $100 at that point. So it's at least an option. So what we're going to go do now, and I've got to move the keyboard up here, we're actually going to go into a secure cell session that I've already got into the Raspberry Pi. Now, this is going to get a little geeky, but I'm not real happy with the size of that font. So let's make this a little bit easier for everybody to be able to see. And 10 point, yeah, we're not going to do that. We're going to go like to 12 and make this a little bit easier, and then apply. Oh yeah, much easier. Sorry about that. Should have had that already done. So the first thing you have to find when you're operating from command line is how it's mounted the drives. And actually, we're going to unplug that one drive right now, and the tablet's going to complain. I don't care. So first we have to find out how the drives are mapped. So with the one drive, and let's actually, excuse me, I'm making some changes on the fly here because I really wanted to have this a little bit larger to make it easier. So especially if you're viewing this on a mobile device. Let's go up to 14 font. I'll get it out here. Okay, now that's even better. So what we'll do is we'll do an ls-l/dev/sd asterisk. Now the reason we're doing the asterisk is we want it to tell us everything that it sees mounted. So it's seeing three devices now under SDA. Now SDA is the master one, and then SDA 1 and 2 are the different partitions. So we're most concerned about SDA. Now I'll go back over here and we will plug in the second reader. And okay, I think it's got it found by now. So we'll just do a scroll up or arrow up and repeat that command, and see now we've got, it's remapped them on us, but that's fine. We can still kind of tell what's going on. So what we will do, actually, just to be on the safe side, let's take those out, and now we can, okay, now there's nothing there. Okay, that's fine. So now we will put in the first one. And okay, so he's got him as SDB, And it's important to know them as you plug them in so that you make sure you're copying the right direction and not overwriting. So now I'll plug in the second one and SDC. So in this case, and those letters may change. It just depends on how it's seeing them mapped at that point. So it's very important because we're doing the DD command. If you try to do this at first, it's going to balk saying command not available or you don't have authorization. So we'll do sudo DD and do IF, and that is, think of that as input file. So we'll do dev/SDB, and then we will do OF, and that's think of that as output file. And if I typed it right, then it would actually work. =dev, and then we are going to make it, with the way the device mapped out, SDC. And we'll press enter. And unfortunately, that's the last you're going to hear until it completes copying, because this is a fairly, well, it's a no frills command. So it's going to copy it, and you just have to kind of hurry up and wait. Now, do some experimentation, but by all means, it's trust but verify. So after you've made your copy, take the new card that you just copied onto, move it back to the Raspberry Pi, and test it. Don't just assume that because you've copied the card that everything's all right. You've always got to test it. Any good, I mean, what companies will do is you will be in what they call a disaster recovery situation, and they always test those plans. So just doing the backups and saying, oh, they're good, is not going to help you when it comes time to actually test it. And you may find that the copy didn't go right, and it may not give you an error at all. Now, if you think you have a problem, then there is one thing you can do to help figure out where the problem is, and this will go into, now I'm not going to actually start the command, but we'll go down here under accessories, our Raspberry Pi diagnostics, and this is going to help you see if it's a card problem, because if the backup process continually fails, then that is a potential indication that you have a bad card. It could be a bad reader, an SD card reader. The slot the USB slot may be on. This is where it's going to be a process of elimination to figure out where the problem is. So that's what we've got to go on at this point. Again, this is going to be a case, just experiment. I want to expose you to 2 more options. There's even more I've got planned, because as with anything, there's no single one way to do it. For those of you who've been watching my previous videos where I talked about the Open Media Vault, and one of you raised a good question about why would you use USB drives that are not supported, I did it because that's what I had available. And that's what I back up all my YouTube creation work with. So, I mean, I eat my own dog food on that one. So this is something, there's any number of ways to do it, and I'll be showing you in future videos how to do some of the other options, so you can just a matter of what you've got available. So we talked about command line copy, doing the GUI, and again, trust but verify. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you will see videos on the screen to the right or to the left that are next steps to the one you've just watched, or other content you might be interested in. If this video helps you or provides value, please click on that like button, thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please click on subscribe and enable notifications. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.